This is bald cypress, or Taxodium distichum. That specific epithet, distichum, comes from the two-tier ranking of the leaves. The Choctaw name for this species is sahamgolo, and the Choctaw would use narrow strips of the bark of this species for lashings and also for cordage. And the Choctaw would also use larger pieces of the bark in order to thatch their houses. And logs of this species were lashed together by the Choctaw to serve as rafts, and they most likely use grapevines for those lashings. Whole trunks of this species were used for dugout canoes. So in the 80s, a dugout canoe made from bald cypress was dug out of the banks of the Red River, and that dated for about 1000 AD and was about 30 foot long. And the Quapaw were also known to use this species for dugout canoes. And a spectacular fleet of mini dugout canoes, each capable of carrying around 80 men, including 30 oarsmen, and going 30 miles per hour, chased the fleeing remnants of the calamitous De Soto expedition down the Mississippi around 1540. Now this wood is excellent for dugout canoes because it is very light, strong, and most importantly, very resistant to water, or more specifically, water rot. Historically, it was used for many applications, especially requiring contact with the soil or water, such as for boats, docks, water tanks. And this tree can reach spectacular sizes as well. There was one in Florida called the Senator that had 11 foot in diameter and 125 feet in height. And that died in 2012 when a meth smoking person lit a fire next to it. But this is in the same genus as the widest species of tree in the world. That's Mexican bald cypress, or Taxodium mucronatum. And I think that's around 38 feet in diameter. It's also the same family as the tallest tree species in the world, coast redwood, or Sequoia sempervirens, reaching 380 feet tall. And it's also related to the western red cedar, famous in the lumber industry, especially for its resistance to water. And it's a very light, easy to work with wood. It's very beautiful. And historically, this was used in the lumber industry much more. And for that reason, many have been cut down and were left with kind of the smaller ones. But you would have in the past seen much more larger species. Now, that Mexican bald cypress had some medicinal uses among the indigenous people of Mexico, especially the sap. So the sap would be used to apply to wounds and sores, and also used to treat ulcers and gout and even toothache. Now, I've used the sap of this species to apply to cuts, and I find it works well for that purpose, to seal it off and act as an antimicrobial agent. It definitely prefers to live in areas where it can be in water or on the water shores. It often will form these root mats and providing habitat for other species to colonize, and a great habitat for fish underneath of it. It also often has these structures in the roots called knees that extend above and look kind of odd, and those have historically been hypothesized to help with aeration of the root system, but a more probable hypothesis is that they serve to anchor the roots structurally, which are often in a muddy environment. And these are the fruits of the bald cypress. They kind of look like little pine cones and break apart with these seeds in there. Squirrels like to eat them. And these are rich in oils, and often you'll see some swampy areas with an iridescent sheen on top, and that is possibly contributed to by the many oils in the fruits of these, and also some decay of anaerobic bacteria in the soil.